Hello, my name is BrandiHoneycutt, and I am working on a master's degree in environmental science at CU Denver. This video is about the Sustainable and Adaptive Environmental Management class that I took with Rafael Moreno during the Maymester of 2015. The course focused on concepts of environmental sustainability with regards to natural resources. So we spent 1.5 days in the classroom discussing peer-reviewed articles and such, and then spent 10 days in Costa Rica applying the concepts that we learned through field observations. I definitely learned a lot during the course, and I hope to be able to apply the concepts in my daily work in the field of water conservation and management. So the group you're seeing now is truly the dream team. Students that took this class came from all kinds of disciplines. We had someone from communications, landscape architecture, public administration, geography, environmental science, and there were quite a few students that were also doing the Geographic Information System certificate at CU Denver. Our team, I can't say enough good things about everyone. We traveled great together. Everyone contributed to our learning, and I would do it all over again with this group if I had the chance. So the course reiterated to me that we are consuming our natural resources at alarming rates and that are not sustainable. We're also adding pollutants into the environment at a rate that is too fast for it to recover. In other words, we're using the Earth's natural resources at a rate above its carrying capacity. So in order to maintain and ensure a good quality of life for our generation and generations to follow, we will absolutely have to change the way that we do things. In Costa Rica, we learned about a project in La Selva Biological Research Station that is aimed at restoring the riparian zone along one of the major rivers that runs through the research station and beyond. Runoff from cleared lands for cattle grazing and monoculture has increased, and it is degrading the water quality of the river. There's also a lot of runoff of fertilizers from pineapple plantations that are owned by Dole, and it's also damaging the water quality. So the Costa Rican government recognizes that protecting the riparian zone is important so that the river can offer its benefits like clean drinking water and erosion control and movement of nitrogen. And it's really this kind of thinking and project that reflect the concept of sustainability. So another concept that we discussed that resonates with me and my thesis research is the concept of resilience. So resilience refers to the ability of the environment to bounce back quickly from unexpected economic, social, and environmental events. It also refers to management plans that adapt to changes in the environment that allow for the natural environment to support life through constant human-caused and natural evolution. So in other words, disruptions to the environment from climate change and other factors will not result in an environmental system that can no longer support life. In Costa Rica, one example I noticed was that almost all of the electricity is produced through renewable resources such as hydroelectric and wind power. We took a visit to Lake Arenal near the Arenal volcano, and historically this lake was used to generate almost 100% of the country's electricity, and now only produces about 15%. And the reason is there have been additional renewable energy sources that have been developed throughout the country. So what's resilient about this is that, if we run into a fossil fuel crisis in the future, which I'm certain that we will, Costa Rica's energy production will not be disrupted. So they will be able to function relatively normally despite any type of fossil fuel crisis. And in my opinion, the United States would benefit from weaning off of fossil fuels and trying to build a more resilient energy economy. That's the volcano, Lake Arenal's volcano. So in this course, we discussed sustainability indicators. And so these are signals within our environmental, economic, and social surroundings that tell us how those aspects of our communities are functioning. So for an example, an environmental indicator to manage water supply might be reservoir or groundwater levels. And so if supplies in these storage units begin to decline, it would indicate that we need to implement water conservation measures to preserve our supplies. An economic indicator that is well used today is the gross domestic product, but This indicator does not factor in social and environmental indicators, so it really doesn't tell us the whole picture. And an example of a social indicator might be crime rates or money spent on mental illnesses. But we did learn that the most important indicators that we need to keep track of are for the environment, because the environment is the system that supports our life, and so without that we have nothing. So throughout our travels in Costa Rica, Raphael had us keep an eye out for environmental, social, and economic indicators. And a couple of experiences come to mind where land use practices were reflected in the water quality of the river. So when we were in La Fortuna, we went on an awesome rafting trip on the Sarapiqui River. And the water in that river was perfectly clear. The riparian zone consisted of tropical trees that protected the river from erosion. And also the headwaters of the river fell from an area that was not densely populated with humans. So we observed a ton of cool bird species along the riverbanks, and it really felt like an undisturbed habitat. We also, earlier on the trip, we visited a different river near Puerto Vallejo that was surrounded by pineapple plantations. So as you can imagine, there's not as much in the root zone holding the soil together, plus there's runoff from fertilizers. You could really tell the difference. The water was really turbid from erosion, and we really didn't see as many different species along there. So river water quality is a direct indicator of land management in the riparian zone. And this is actually Lake Arenal. So this was the lake that generated a lot of the power, and now is only doing a portion of it. But as you can see, there's wind power generation going on there as well. So socially and economically, many of the people that worked in the ecotourism industry seemed really happy. Our guides and hiking guides were all energetic and really knowledgeable and seemed to be making a decent living. Farmers that took good care of their lands had some of the nicest and largest homes in the country. And this just goes to show you that taking care of the land can earn you a decent living and a happy lifestyle. Sorry, my pictures are blurring up now. I don't know why that's happening. So Costa Rican culture promotes a sense of community through their centrally located parks and plazas and urban centers. In both La Fortuna and Hojancha, there was a huge garden with multiple landscape styles and benches and fountains that attract people to come and sit and interact. And we also found this in San Jose. So in La Fortuna, the church was also located adjacent to the park, so it kind of made the entire plaza a social and communal center. And what's great about this is as people interact in these settings, they get to know one another and generate friendships and relationships, and what follows is a population that has vested interest in the well-being of the community as a whole, rather than an individualistic society. So, and then of course vested interest in the well-being of the community can lead to vested interest in the natural support system and economic stability. So one other point I wanted to touch on about Costa Rica was education. So we met so many bright and intelligent people that really promoted their knowledge through ecotourism. All of our guides were really smart and really knowledgeable about the local species and everything, and that really made the experience for us. I think our raft guide on the Sarapiqui was studying geography, or he had just finished, and he was really knowledgeable about all of the trees and birds and things that we observed along the river. And he seemed to be happy to share the knowledge with us, so that was nice to see. We also met another student named Victor. He was our hiking guide in Hojancha at the Eco Lodge, and he was studying biology at the University in San Jose. He guided us on a hike in the tropical forest near Hojancha, where we learned about a native tree that the city is named after, so Hojancha tree. Victor had several meals with us because he was trying to learn more of the English language, and we were kind of trying to pick up on Spanish, so it was really neat to interact with him because he was a really bright boy. So that pretty much concludes my little video. I tried to touch on, some of the things we actually learned. The class is definitely a lot of fun too. We went ziplining, and of course the rafting trip, lots of cool nature hikes where you see a ton of wildlife. I mean, just a ton of it. and even rare species that we saw in La Selva Biological Research Station. It was just an amazing trip all around, and I would truly recommend it to anyone who has the opportunity. And that is it.